Hello, Ben Norcott here from The Athlete Coach. Today I wanted to answer a question around conditioning games, and what I wanted to talk about was the difference between an intensive conditioning game versus an extensive conditioning game, and then how to set them up. First we'll start with the intensive conditioning game. So what I've got here is a whiteboard and I'll explain the game. So if you look at the markings of the field size, it's really important, as well as the number of participants, where the coaches are situated, and a timekeeper. And also we've got poles here. So let's explain the setup. So the setup is from the sideline down to the 40-metre line, all the way across into the far pole of your posts on your rugby field. And again, using the try line as a sideline across here. So in the middle here, we've got a coach who will be driving the rules of the competition, the standards as well, and also making sure that they've got 2 to 3 footballs, because when they see a breakdown in the game, as in someone drops a ball, they chuck a new one in, or if the game's getting too slow, they'll chuck a new ball in representing a turnover. Now these coaches on the sideline here are really important because they're going to drive the standard and the speed which guys exit the game when their touch is made. So for an intensive game, the real idea is having a shorter field position, and we're looking at the change of direction, acceleration, deceleration as a way of driving our conditioning. Now, if you look at GPS, we're not going to get a lot of high-speed meters here, but what we'll get is a lot of acceleration density, and that's a lot of the time we use as an attitude meter of how much intent someone has in their game, how quickly they're changing gears from 0 to up or laterally or slowing down. Now the game that we're playing is a form of pole touch. So pole touch, what's happened, let's say these guys have the football here, this person makes a touch, this person pops off the ground to the ball to the next person. This person has to run around the closest pole, get onto their chest and run back into the game as quickly as possible. So every time there's a touch made, the person that makes a touch exits around a pole and gets back into the game. Now, the number of people that you're going to need per game is anywhere from 6 to 8. Over 8 per side, you're not really going to get enough intensity. And the game will last for a full 60 seconds on and 30 seconds off. Over time, you'll build up to having 90 seconds. Now, if you've got a bigger squad or a normal full team, what you'll do is you'll have one game happening here and one game happening down here. They'll play a half of football against each other, stop, have half time, then play the second half. Then 30 seconds rest, the winners will play the winners, the losers will play the losers. So you end up getting 4 intervals. And again, building up to 90 seconds in time. Now, really important that this coach here and here drives the standard that the players are going into the field. Just say you end up with 8 players on the field and you feel the game is going a little bit too slowly, what you can do is get these players, so when one person makes a touch, they've got to grab the closest person next to them and take them around the pole as well. Now, important thing, when this team scores a try, they have to leave the ball there. All of these players have to get back, and then they attack from that end. So the game is continuous the whole time. This coach here is so important. If there's a breakdown in play, like I said before, or they feel the intensity of the game's not good enough, or they want to mimic actions over a turnover, chuck that football in as quickly as you can. So we'll just take a brief moment here. I'll swap this over and show you an extensive game and the differences in field dimension, and again, the rules for that as well. Okay. So we're back from our intensive game, and I've actually set up an extensive game here. So first of all, let's talk about the size of the field. So one try line will run down from the try line here down to the 45. The sideline will come across from 45 metres down here all the way across the sideline. Again, using the sideline down to the try line. Okay, across there you can set up a number of poles. Now, if you want them to run a lot of meters, you'll only have 2 poles. If you want them to be really quick, you'll have 3 poles. Now, if you're going to run 2 games at a time, just say you've got a group here and group down here, it's really important that you have a centralised timekeeper. That timekeeper will determine the start and stop of each half or each period within your game. Now the coach here will have 2 to 3 footballs in their hand, because what they'll do is anytime again that there's a breakdown or they feel that the game's moving slowly, they can randomly chuck a football into any team in any position to keep driving that standard up. And again, we've got these coaches on the sideline here that are to drive the standard of people exiting the game to get around a pole and then back into the game. Now I'd use at least 8 players on this field at a time. So let's say this team here is attacking, okay, they've made a touch. This player here, if they're down this way, we'll say, has to run around a pole, which this person will determine which one, get down onto the deck and then back into the game. Now that's a point that I missed in the intensive game as well. In that pole touch, what we're looking for is the people to get on their chest at this point and then pop off the ground and back in the game, using whatever language you use to get them off the ground. So in a game of football, some forwards can do this at least 40 times a game, so we really want to drive that standard. Now, because the field is so big, if you're using GPS as well, what you'll be looking for is a much higher speed game, because the distances are so much greater. So that's your determiner as well of how successful it has been, and as well as if you've got the numbers right for your team. If you find the high speed metrics are down, or you don't feel the game's working fast enough when you're the coach at this point here, or the referee in that game, what you can do then is, again, this guy's making a touch, that guy's been touched, so the 2 closest people have to get around the field and then come back. Now it'll drive the standard. Now let's say, right, the try has been scored, so all these players have to move back, right, and then they can attack. But this defensive team, they've gone from attack into defence. Everyone must be on this 15-metre line, right? Otherwise they get penalised. So this team will attack up this way straight away. So anytime there's a try scored, the attacking team leaves the ball there, gets on the 15-metre line and becomes the defending team. And all the attacking team have to be behind whoever's got the ball to drive the standards of people getting back on time. Now, the intervals that you're looking for, again, it's 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So if you've got a big squad, you'll probably have a game happening here and a game happening there. That central timekeeper becomes very important. So playing 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off, building up to 90 seconds. So you play your first half, your second half, then your winners can come over here and stay with the winning, the losers down here. You can have 2 intensive games going on and then you change to an extensive, or you can have this game's an intensive game versus this game that's an extensive as well. So any way that you want to format it, but make sure that all teams go through the same amount of reps of extensive and intensive. Now, something you might want to do is to break these teams up into mini groups permanently and always have a record of that as well. So that really drives the competition as well. And you can reward them for over weeks of who got the best score. If you've got any questions or comments or want any more information, please get in contact. Ben Norcott from The Athlete Coach. Hope you train hard and smart today.